Hello everyone, you are welcome to today's video, and today we're gonna be talking about voice types. You know what? When we talk about finding your voice, a lot of singers, a lot of potential singers tell me they want to find their voice. How can you find your voice if you don't know your voice type? So first and foremost, you have to know your voice type. Now, it's very important to know your voice type because you know exactly what your weaknesses are and your strengths are.
If you can talk, you can sing. There is really nothing to it.
Breathe in, breathe out, add a little vibrato. Yes, anyone can sing, but you gotta be consistent.
Know your do re mi is just like 1, 2, 3.
You will be the best and you will sing so well. It's time to sing with Frank at TBL.
For instance, in a choir or a group, if everybody is categorized wrongly, for instance, a natural alto voice sitting with soprano or vice versa, this is what's gonna happen. You know, when you're singing something low, is nice and cool and everybody can sing that. For instance, I give you praise for all you've done. I worship you for who you are. Anybody can sing that. Any female singer can attempt that and sing that. But when it's time to deliver, when the song goes higher, everybody naturally defaults to their natural tone or range. In the melody, that's when the real sopranos shine. For instance, faithful and just. When we get to such a part, that's when it begins to show that maybe you're not a real or natural soprano. You see, voice types is not something that changes. It's not something you wake up one day and decide, hey, I'm no longer a soprano, I am an alto voice. I'm talking about voice types, yeah? Your voice type is determined by factors that remains the same. For instance, the size of your skull, exactly, the size of your larynx, and the other muscles that coordinate singing. All these things determine your voice type. So they don't change overnight. In fact, they don't change. That's why you remain with the same voice type. You just don't wake up and say, you're no longer this voice type, I'm now this voice type. All right? So when it's time to deliver, the highest part in the song is naturally sung by the sopranos. So when we get to that high part, the sopranos default. That's where they shine. They default into their natural range, and the altos begin to struggle. So here's what you're gonna hear. Very light and airy voice that's not supported. You see that? But when the altos sing their natural range, they shine. You hear the beauty of their voice. And that's what I'm trying to say. If everybody sits in their natural range, they're gonna shine. The beauty of their voice is gonna show up. So, to tell us all about voice types, we're gonna be reading from, we're gonna be reading from Sing Like a Pro. Now, this is a book I wrote and it's loaded. So much knowledge that would help you become a better singer, that will help you know music better and know your voice especially. So I'm gonna go straight to chapter 10, which says comprehensive list of voice types and subtypes. Yeah. So when we say soprano voice, we still have different kinds of soprano voices. Okay. So let me read a bit. It says voice classification is typically divided by gender and range. Gender and range. But further distinctions exist based on timbre, weight, and agility, and power also. So when we talk about voice types, you don't just use range to determine voice type. It's not enough, because Someone who's a tenor singer like me can train my range to reach the higher soprano, which I actually have. I can sing what sopranos can sing, right? But it won't be natural when I sing it, but it's very natural to a natural soprano singer. So that's what I mean. So if range is used to measure voice types, by default, I should be a soprano voice. But no, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so range is not enough. That's why other factors come in, like gender, like your timbre, the weight of your voice, agility, and power. How much power can you generate up there or down there? Soprano singer would also have issues singing alto naturally, the alto voice naturally, because there's a limit to how low they can go. But an alto voice can sing that place naturally and even go lower. Yeah. So when you reach both extremes of your voice begins to lose power and weight and begins to sound like airy, like falsetto like. Yeah, you get it, right? So let's go to the first one. The first one is female voice types. The first one is soprano, which is the highest female voice type. And on the soprano, we have subtypes as well. We have different kind of sopranos. So let's quickly look at them. We have the coloratura soprano, which is extremely agile, capable of fast runs and very high notes. So this is natural to a coloratura kind of soprano. Let's look at the next one. Lyric coloratura soprano. This kind of voice type is light, bright, and agile, but slightly fuller than a pure coloratura. Okay? Then the next one is dramatic coloratura soprano. Powerful with high notes and agility. Amazing. And then we have the lyric soprano, which is sweet, warm, and expressive, common in romantic roles. And then we have another one. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It's called a spinto soprano. What's this soprano all about? It's a balance between the lyric and dramatic. The lyric and dramatic kind of soprano, which is capable of powerful climaxes. And then we have the dramatic soprano, which is large, powerful voice. It's a large, powerful voice, which is rich and full tones. It generates full tones. So that's it for sopranos and their subtypes. Let's go to the next one. The next one is called the mezzo-soprano, which is the middle female voice. Middle female voice. Now, when I say middle female voice, it's not as if they can't sing as high as the sopranos. They can. But while the sopranos default naturally to the high part of their range, right? The mezzo-sopranos default to the lower parts. So both can sing similar range, but the mezzo-sopranos, are more confident or comfortable singing the lower part of their range. Now, on the mezzo-soprano, we also have subtypes. Okay, so we have the lyric mezzo-soprano kind of voice, which is light and warm, and it is suitable for both lyric and supporting roles. And then the next one is dramatic mezzo-soprano. Dramatic mezzo-soprano is powerful and rich, often portraying intense roles. And then the next one is coloratura mezzo-soprano. Just like we had coloratura soprano, we also have the coloratura mezzo-soprano, and this is a kind of agile mezzo-soprano and a mezzo-soprano that is capable of fast passages with a darker timbre. So it's not so bright. Something that's regarded as bright has a lot of high frequency, high end, and one that is not so bright in music is regarded as dark. So when you hear dark in music, that's what it means. It's warmer in nature, it's warmer in timbre, okay? And then finally, we have the spinto mezzo-soprano. Now, all of them are related. You see, it's not much different from the soprano. Just like we have spinto soprano, we also have spinto mezzo-soprano. We have coloratura soprano. We also have coloratura mezzo-soprano. Okay, so what is spinto mezzo-soprano? So it is between the lyric and dramatic with the ability to sustain climaxes. Amazing. Let's come to the last one, the last voice type for females. Okay, so we come to the contralto voice type, which is also called the alto voice type. It is the lowest female voice. And the subtypes are lyric contralto, which is light and warm, yet lower than a mezzo-soprano. So it's light and warm, but lower than a mezzo-soprano. And then the next one is dramatic contralto. It is full-bodied, it is rich and deep, often used in powerful roles. And then we come to the next subtype, which is coloratura contralto. It is rare, but capable of agile, fast passages in a deep range. Now, before I go on, let's relate this to singing harmony, parts in a harmony, okay? So we know we have fundamentally or basically 3 parts. Voice type is different from voice parts or vocal parts in a harmony. I always say that because choirs usually confuse both of them. Now, in vocal parts, you don't have no such thing as a soprano part. If you want to use it like that, you want to say something like the parts that the soprano voices should sing. That's the soprano part. What parts are the soprano voices meant to sing? Yeah, so if you want to use what is a soprano part, then that's how you use it. But then there should be an answer. It's either it is the melody part, or it is the alto part, or it is the tenor part, not it is the soprano part. No. So you get what I'm saying? Don't confuse both, okay? So in the vocal harmony, we have 3 fundamental parts. We have the melody, we have the alto part, and then we have the tenor part, okay? Sometimes you could have 4 parts, okay? So what happens is usually the top one is the repetition of the bottom one, because where else do you want to go? If you swap this back up and swap this up and swap this up, you arrive back at this. And now I explained this in a previous video. Just try it. Swap this up, okay? That's the first inversion. Swap this up and we have the second inversion, and then if you swap it one more time, you arrive back at what we have: melody, alto, soprano parts. Okay, so if you add an extra part at the top, what you have is the repeat of what's at the bottom. Okay, so let's say this is tenor. All right, in this basic arrangement, we have the tenor here, the tenor part. What you'd have here is the high tenor, usually used to in complex kind of harmonies, or to beef things up to make it sound fuller and brighter, or to create advanced kind of harmony. You know, like when we have this one, it doesn't move exactly the way this one does. This one moves differently. Sometimes it creates it creates a 7th, a 9th, which are different kinds of advanced harmony, 7 9s, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but just to give you an overview of how voice types relate to parts. So let's go back to the 3 fundamental arrangements. Okay, so we have melody, alto, and tenor part. Now, the mezzo-sopranos and the sopranos, when you have only this melody at the top, 2 of them sing this. The sopranos and the mezzo-sopranos sing this. And the females who sing the lowest part, which is the alto voices, sing the middle one. They are the middlemen. They always sing whatever part is in the middle in a harmony. Okay, and then the tenor voices obviously will sing this. Sometimes the baritones join them. Now, if it's an a cappella, you would probably have another part I rarely mention, which is the bass part. Okay, but You won't have the bass part when you have a bass guitar playing. So that's why you don't usually find a bass part in the harmony. So let's move on. Now we are in the male segment. Let's talk about the male voice types. This book is really loaded. Amazing. You can get a copy and slowly digest these things. So we have the tenor, which is the highest male voice. So we also have subtypes in the tenor, okay? So first of all, we have the Leggero tenor. It's spelled Leggieiro. Leggero tenor, which is lyric coloratura tenor. So it is synonymous, the same thing, okay? So it is light, it is agile, and capable of high notes. And then the other subtype of tenor voices, is the lyric tenor. It is sweet and warm, often in romantic roles. And then we have the spinto tenor. It is a mix of lyric and dramatic, capable of powerful climaxes. And then after that, we have another kind of tenor, which is dramatic tenor. It is strong, is commanding, and often used in heroic roles. You know, like theaters, movies, and so on and so forth. Heroic roles. All right, so let's go to another one. Helden tenor. My guess is that you've never heard of this before, but it exists. It's a Wagnerian kind of voice with a very powerful resonant voice. So that's it for tenors. Very interesting, right? So when you digest these information, you begin to have an idea where you belong. Yes. Then we have the baritone voice types, which is the middle male voice type, okay? The first subtype we have of the baritone is lyric baritone. Lyric baritone. It is lighter, it is warm, and it is expressive. Let's go to the next one. We have the dramatic baritone, or called the Verdi baritone. It is strong, is rich, and powerful as well. And then we have the baritone Martine. Baritone Martine, okay? Is lighter, higher baritone found in French opera. I repeat, it is a lighter, higher baritone found in French opera. Let's go to the next one. It's called the cavalier baritone. Cavalier baritone is a noble, heroic sounding baritone. Okay? Now, let's go to the last male voice type, which is the bass voice. It is the lowest male voice. And the subtypes again are lyric bass. It is smooth, deep, and expressive. And then we have the dramatic bass. Is strong, resonant, and commanding. I like that. And then we have the basso buffo, which is a lighter, more agile bass for comedic roles. Comedy, yeah. And then we have the last one, which is basso profundo. Okay, it's a type of bass. It is the deepest and darkest male voice with extreme resonance. I like that. So that's it for voice types. But we have others. Let's look at these other voice types. We have the countertenor, which is a male singing in alto or soprano range. Have you ever heard those male singers who naturally, I'm not talking about the ones who have gone through technique training and all that. I'm talking about those ones who naturally sing alto or soprano. They sing like an alto or soprano naturally. So we have two subtypes of countertenor. The first one is sopranist. Is a countertenor capable of reaching soprano range. And then the next one is alto countertenor. Is a countertenor specializing in the alto range. So now you know. Let's look at the next one, which is a treble voice. I hear a lot of people use it, but don't actually know what voice type it is. They don't actually know what it means. You'd find out. Treble voice is a children kind of voice. There you go. So the first one we have is the boy treble. It is high pitched. It is a prepubescent kind of voice similar to soprano. Have you ever wondered why we have all these kind of voice types and why your voice changed when you were very little to maybe an adult? Or after you crossed your puberty, you find out that your voice changed. This is the reason, because the size of your body changed as well, especially the larynx. The larynx is what a lot of people call the Adam's apple. Okay, so when we were all babies growing up, 5, 6, when a boy or a girl talks, you can barely tell the difference because they all sound alike. Hey, I'm watching Singing with Frank on TVL. I mean, you have to look to find out if it's a boy that spoke or a girl. The reason is this: the size of the larynx is short. This here is short. And when both grow, it grows longer. As they begin to cross puberty, it grows longer and longer and longer, especially the boys. It grows longer in the boys, and the principle is the longer your larynx, the deeper your sound. If the larynx is long, then you probably be talking like this. But in ladies, the larynx doesn't grow that long as the guys. That's why they are able to maintain their high pitch still, even when they cross puberty. Not necessarily sound exactly when they did before puberty, but it doesn't sound as deep as the guys. It doesn't sound this deep, and that's the reason. So remember that the longer your larynx, the deeper the sound. Now let's talk a little about children's voice. Okay, so children's voices differ significantly from adult voices in terms of range, timbre, and classification. Unlike adults, whose voices are categorized into soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and other voice types, children's voices are generally classified more simply due to their smaller vocal cords and undeveloped larynx. I told you. Let's look at some key characteristics of children's voices. Now, I skipped some information because of time, okay? Just get this book and you get all the details. So some key characteristics of children's voices are: it is light and pure in tone. So it has less vibrato and more natural and airy, okay? The next thing is it is limited and lower in range. Their vocal cords are short, making deep notes difficult. That's why you don't find a child singing like this, faithful and just. No. Then the bright timbre. Their voices have a bright timbre, and this means it is clear, a bell-like sound with minimal resonance. So their voice usually ring. So, with what I've said, let's talk about how you develop and train children's voices. So, healthy technique is very important when training children. It's different from when training adults. So, encourage gentle vocal exercises and avoid pushing the voice too hard. The second thing is range and expansion. Over time, children can gradually expand their range with proper training. And the last one is age-appropriate repertoire. Songs should fit their natural vocal range without strain, okay? As children grow, their voices mature and transition into adult voice types around puberty. Boys will typically experience a voice break, while girls will see a smoother transition to their adult soprano, mezzo-soprano, or alto range. And that's it from me. I hope you learned a lot. You can watch this video again if you want to, because there's loads of information. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what you get from this book. You begin to know your voice, and that's where success in developing your voice begins. Okay, so make sure you ask your questions. You can send it to info@thevocallexicon.co.uk. Send your questions, or what videos would you like me to make. Now, I have a question. What is your voice type? After listening to all these now, what do you think your voice type is? Let us know. You can put it in the comment section. Make sure you click the like button and also click the subscribe button if this is your first time or you haven't yet. There is a join button which makes you a special member of this community. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
If you can talk, you can sing. There is really nothing to it.
Breathe in, breathe out, add a little vibrato. Yes, anyone can sing, but you gotta be consistent.
Know your do re mi is just like 1, 2, 3.
You will be the best and you will sing so well. It's time to sing with friends.